Hey y'all. So they finally said it out loud on camera with their whole chest. Alabama's House Speaker Nathaniel Ledbetter stood in front of the press after his state passed a redistricting bill and said, and I quote, "I certainly hope the Supreme Court will overturn Amendment 14."
Do y'all understand that we are about to be seen as 3/5 of a human again? This whole argument about black people being human is about to come into politics yet again. That's what they're aiming for. They want to see us as animals so bad. If they're able to overturn the 14th Amendment, then the question would be, do black people even get to own land? Understand that they're coming for our... We knew this. We knew that we was a part of the plan. We was always the plan. And when that goal is done, when they are able to prove that we are 3/5 of a human, they're going to start taking your homes. I mean, animals don't own homes, right? And your land, and your farms, and your businesses. So when people say that they were done after this election, it was because we knew well, it was going to be almost impossible to get this man out of office. After that first loss, that man sat back and figured out what he did wrong and started putting people in power. That would ensure he would not lose again. This is why I'm so confused about the Democratic Party. As soon as you win against this man, he sends the FBI. As soon as folks win against him in court, all of a sudden they got mortgage fraud. I don't understand why the Democratic Party is trying the same tactics that they did before. It is not the same administration. At some point, we got to stop trying to be dignified, or we're not about to have This is serious.
Hey guys, you're welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Candy. Let's look about today's episode, guys. A lot of people think history is buried in books, but what if I told you that history is trying to repeat itself in front of our eyes? What's happening right now in America has a lot of black American deeply concerned, and honestly, people need to start paying attention, because when politics began attacking the very attainment that we created to protect formerly enslaved black people. That is not something small. That is a warning sign. The 14th Amendment was never just another law. The attainment was to create after slavery ended, because American has already showed the world that without legal protection, black people could not be denied citizenship, denied rights, denied humanity. They drag shocked decisions, liberated, and said black people could never be citizens of United States. Imagine that, being human born on American, not being told that they do not belong in their country. So let's see people's reaction in this video. Stay with me.
And made. That was meant for the children of slaves. This was not meant for the whole world to come in and pile into the United States of America, everybody coming in and totally unqualified people with perhaps unqualified children. This wasn't meant for that. This was meant, when it was originally done, for the children of slaves. And that was a very good and noble thing to do, and I'm in favor of that 100%. But it wasn't meant for the entire world to occupy the United States.
So you don't see it requiring a constitutional amendment that would be...
I just think that we'll end up winning that court in the Supreme Court. I think we're going to win that case.
He said in that press conference that the 14th Amendment, which is the right of anyone born in this country to be a citizen of this country, he said that that amendment had to do with slavery and the rights of children of slaves to be seen as citizens of the United States. Now, when he made that statement, it made me think about the real reason why this is so important to him. An attack on birthright citizenship to him is an attack on Black Americans. And to understand that in its full context, you have to understand how the 14th Amendment came about in the first place. The 14th Amendment basically goes back to the Dred Scott decision. In 1857, there was a court case called Dred Scott versus Sanford. This was after the Missouri Compromise, where Missouri banned slavery. So any Black resident of Missouri was supposed to have been free. Dred Scott was born a slave, but he had somehow been freed and was living in Missouri. By some set of circumstances, he became owned again by a man named Sanford. Because Dred Scott was in Missouri, a free state, he sued Sanford for his freedom. The case went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that Black people, either free or enslaved, were not citizens of the United States, and they were never intended to be citizens of the United States. Thus, because they were not citizens, they did not have the same rights as citizens of the United States. Dred Scott could not sue Sanford for his freedom. He didn't have the right to sue him in federal court. During that same decision, the Supreme Court prohibited Congress from banning slavery in federal territories. This effectively made the Missouri Compromise unconstitutional and was one of the direct causes that led up to the Civil War. To this day, the Dred Scott decision is seen as one of the worst decisions in the history of SCOTUS. And they've made some really terrible decisions, but that was certainly one of them, deeming every single black person in the United States as not a citizen because they were never intended to be citizens. That one decision led to a civil war and 2 additional amendments to the Constitution. The 13th Amendment, which effectively abolished slavery, and the 14th Amendment, which granted citizenship to everyone born on U.S. soil. This effectively made all black people, all black Americans, citizens of the United States.
Hey, y'all. So they finally said it out loud on camera with their whole chest. Alabama's House Speaker Nathaniel Ledbetter stood in front of the press after his state passed a redistricting bill and said, and I quote, "I certainly hope the Supreme Court will overturn Amendment 14, end quote. I need you to understand what he means. You see, the 14th Amendment is not a technicality. It's not a redistricting footnote. It's the amendment that made black people citizens of this country after 250 years of enslavement, ratified in 1868, written in blood. It says you are a citizen. It says you have equal protections under the law. It says no state can strip your rights without due process. It is the legal spine of every civil rights victory we have ever won. And Ledbetter hopes the Supreme Court throws it in the trash. That's not a redistricting argument, ladies and gentlemen. That's a declaration. See, they're not hiding under their white hoods and robes anymore. They are not dog whistling. They are standing at a podium saying, we want the amendment that made you citizens gone. This is happening right now in real time, 2026. And the only thing they're afraid of, the only reason they want to erase that amendment is because they know what we do when we show up. So show up. And remind every black and brown person that voted for this. Jim Crow had a hood. This version has a law degree and a press conference.
The Bone Spurs administration have been trying their best since the beginning of this second term to target black Americans. They have been doing it since day one, bringing back segregation in federal agencies, which we are seeing now in the Pentagon and the Department of Defense. The firing of generals, the striking of names on the promotion list just because they are black. The Bone Spurs administration has gone against DEIA programs. So inherently, anything that is black-owned or black-run has been scratched for government programs under the guise of DEI. 300,000 black women fired from their jobs because of the repealing of DEIA. And that number has gone up to an estimated 400,000 to 500,000. They have tried to get us in those streets in multiple different ways. Destroying the Black Lives Matter street, destroying murals of our fallen, penalizing schools and corporations for having DEIA programs that put black people in leadership roles. Bone Spurs wrote executive orders on day one, giving cops more immunity for brutalizing black people. And now police, like in the Jim Crow era, are finding black men hanging from trees and immediately, without any investigation at all, ruling that they did that to themselves. And there is no civil rights division in the DOJ now to be able to get justice for those families. We still have the SAVE Act that they are trying to pass, which, yes, targets married women, but it also targets our older black population, the same population that fought in the streets for those rights in the first place. That same population that was forced to be born in their homes and have no documentation of their birth because their parents were not allowed in a hospital. With the Bone Spurs administration, they will always do something over here that everybody is going to look at. Meanwhile, the other hand is moving in another intention. And that intention is always, always to disenfranchise Black people. If the courts rule that birthright citizenship is determined by the President of the United freaking States, there is no timeline or universe where you can convince me that he won't try to repeal the citizenship of Black Americans. Because that might be the one thing that he can do that will goad Black people to storm the streets, which has been the entire goal of this administration when it comes to Black people to begin with. I am not saying any of this to try to fearmonger. I am saying this so that you can be ready. I am saying this so if something like that happens, you are not surprised. And I have never wanted to be proven wrong so badly.
For Juneteenth, I need y'all to learn that Black Americans are not immigrants. You're not an immigrant when you are dragged across the globe against your will to be worked by the very people who stole the land upon which you were dragged to. Okay? We didn't choose to vacation here. We didn't choose to flee here. We didn't choose any of this. That's the difference. A lot of y'all are immigrants, and God bless you for it, but that will never be Black Americans. We were forced to build up the places that a lot of your ancestors immigrated to, and to this day didn't get a stake in any of that. So before y'all run your mouths about Black Americans and our history in this country, make sure you're not spewing out garbage first. Because immigrants made this country what it is, but we are the building blocks, the very foundation. So unless you're Native American, you can't say nothing to me about that.
At the end of the day, this conversation is bigger than politics. It's about history, dignity, and the fight to protect hard-earned rights that generations suffered and died for. Whether you agree or disagree, one thing nobody should ignore is the importance of staying informed and understanding the past before history repeats itself. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think people are correcting, overreacting, or do you believe those concerns are real? Real want to hear. I want to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so more people can join the conversation. Stay aware, stay informed, and most importantly, never stop asking questions. We'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.